All right, we are live on Twitter and YouTube. So, welcome everyone to another Deep Dives, and welcome Raymond to the stage. Raymond will be presenting for us today, and we also have a follow up for this session. This one's going to be about AI assisted trading with telefriends. So, Raymond, whenever you're ready, we can get started and we'll distribute the power up likely by the end of the session. That sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chibi, and everyone. Welcome back to the public deep dive we have. So I'm glad to present some new experiment we did recently to help our users to do like crypto trading in Telefans with the assistance from the AI engine. So this is a good time. The different pieces are working together to help the user to get into crypto and be productive with crypto. Looks like we don't have so many audience today on site with Disco today, so it's going to be an interesting private conversation. We'll see. So I start share my screen a little and try to get a little bit context, right? So imagine today you want to either buy, sell some tokens, or even more advanced, you have to swap one token for another one. And even more advanced, you have to go across chains. So what do you do? So there are a few different options people do. One option is they can just use their favorite wallet, and oftentimes in the wallet itself, there's a swap or buy sell buttons, right? And of course, you can go to a centralized exchange to do that as well. Uh, the other option is you use some UI from different parties, such as Uniswap UI or like LeFi, UI. So these UIs give you the possibility on your own. So you have to figure out how to do that by yourself. And of course, a lot of discovery, a lot of hurdles, and you may make mistakes along the way as well. So it's not an easy journey for everyone, right? So that's why we try to do some experiment here to push the boundary and make sure we build something that's easy to use, easy to understand for our target audience. So in this diagram, I start to show the critical components for this experiment. Um, so like as a user, right? And I think if we allow the user to speak in natural language, say, hey, I want to, buy some Collab.Land tokens on Arbitrum with a certain amount of Arbitrum ease. Right? So that's typically the way you sell or you tell your friend what you want to do. Um, so I think there's a special term for that kind of extraction or requirement. So we call that intent. So the intent represents the user's, ask or request what kind of transaction they want to do. Uh, so that's where the artificial intelligence come into play, because when you speak your requirement in natural language, then somehow the artificial intelligence need to understand the English speaking and also figure out what's the path to achieve or fulfill the duty you expect the system to do. Okay? So intent is where you express your requirement. Uh, then, of course, whenever the AI figures out your understanding, and oftentimes the AI engine will use a agent talk to some APIs offered by decentralized exchange. So there are many different decentralized exchanges today, like a 1inch, like OKX, Uniswap, and a few other things. So basically, the API call to the DEX will get back some JSON representation of the different passes. Okay, oh, you can achieve this buy transaction from this DEX using this bunch of transactions, and what's the expect outcome of that transaction. Then the user will make a choice from the list of options, and whenever the user decide which path to go, it get translate into a 0x like data structure, right? A lot of people don't really understand that, but toward the end, it's like say you need to interact with some smart contracts on chain and then calling the methods with the right arguments. Then you have to pay the gas, you have to sign the message. So to minimize the user involvement, so we already built the whole onboarding experience in Telephant. So that means when you onboard with Telephant, you have your Telegram account, right? And from your Telegram account, we automatically get you a so-called MPC signer, which is backed by the LET protocol, and in that, that's being called as a PKP. So it's really a a number like JavaScript function that work on behalf of the user and authorized by the user to sign the transactions. Then when it comes to the transaction itself, we also map from the Telegram ID to this PKP. Then the PKP also maps to a smart account, and of course the smart account will be deployed to that given chain upon the first transaction. And that deployment can be potentially sponsored by a third party. Then once you have the smart account, you actually have a contract-based wallet, right? And that contract-based wallet can very much function as a wallet to do these different kinds of transactions. And the reason we go with this path is for a couple of things. One is for a lot of users, they don't have a regular MetaMask wallet, and for new users, asking them to go through that hurdles is a little bit difficult. And second one is the EOA wallet requires the signing pop up all the time, so you cannot really easily delegate that signing authorization to a different party unless you disclose your private key or your seed phrase, which is not something you want to do at all, right? So that's why we onboard the user, with this MPC pass, then automatically provision the smart account. So the user has the full custody of the smart account and the signing process, but it can be fully automated as well, right? And that's where the strength is coming from the Collab.Land infrastructure. So we already have bots in the Discord server, in the Telegram groups, and the bot could be the coordinate for all the different pieces. So the bot will be listening on the user intents, right? And whichever message you type into the chat, and if that's meant for a potential trade, so the bot understands that, and the bot actually work with the AI engine to figure out what's the meaningful route that intent can be fulfilled. Then once we talk to the DEX APIs, build up that core, we either just make a decision based upon the user criteria and decide which path to go automatically without even prompting the user. But on the conservative side, we can tell user, hey, with your intent, it can be fulfilled by a few different options, and the options may have different pros and cons. Say the transaction speed, the amount of gas fee you have to pay, and the amount of token you will get toward the end, right? So sometimes you want to have a fast transaction, but you sacrifice on the number of tokens you receive. But sometimes you can willing to take a slow, work, but you get more tokens out of it. So that we will present that to the user and have the user to make that choice. Or the user decide, I'm feeling lucky, so whichever bot decide for me, that will be the best option for me. We can do that as well. So once we decide what kind of transaction we want to exercise on chain, we leverage the smart account, because the beauty of smart account is it has this built-in capability to batch a bunch of steps together, because for simple transactions, it probably is one step, but for sophisticated transactions, it might involve multiple steps. For example, if you want to, buy a ERC20 token with another ERC20 token, most likely you have to issue a proof transaction so that you grant to the DEX to use your funding ERC20, right? So that means to really treat from one ERC20 to another ERC20, at least there are two transactions involved. Then, especially for the cross-chain stuff and other sophisticated, swap, because maybe between the two tokens, you need to go through an intermediate token, right? So that means you kind of swap from A token to B token, then B token to C token. So those will involve multiple steps. And that's where the user operation can come in play to group these steps into one atomic, transaction. Then the other beauty of that is now we have a non-custodial smart account, and the user, since they're already logging with Telegram or logging with Disco or passkey, so they can drive the signing process behind the scene, not seeing a pop-up directly. Then, of course, the NPC signer will sign that user operation on behalf of the smart account, and the smart account will be the contract to exercise this user operation with the ERC-4367 bundled infrastructure. So these are the kind of the complexity you see from this diagram, but we are doing the heavy lifting work so that your user experience will be as simple as possible. So that being said, let's provide some proof, right? So we built a quick POC on this thinking, and we want to surface that through our QA system so that we can get early feedback and help the team to further polish the user experience, and then to really make it easy for the different target audience to access this AI-assisted trading. Right. So let me switch to a UI view. So I'm kind of have a DM with a Telefans QA bar, and for the POC, we introduce a simple slash command called intent, and then now you kind of use your English speaking to tell what you want to do. Like say buy you know let's say buy USDC on Arbitrum with 0.001 E, right? So this is how typically people say in plain English. Like say buy USDC on Arbitrum with 0.1 E. So this simple sentence, there are a couple of different keywords, right? One is buy, then what you buy, it's USDC token, and what blockchain you are, try to have that transaction happen, it's on Arbitrum. Then what's your source of funding? You try to use 0.001 E as a source of funding. Right? Let's type in this command. Then the bot, start to work on that. It start to engage with the AI engine to understand this English and to try to build a core from the DEX API. So we are getting back some response. So we're showing a few different options. Of course, this is just ugly JSON for me as a developer to understand what's going on, right? So I say, okay, we have different passes, and we try to do this amount of US dollar to USDC, and how much you get and what protocol you'll access that. So I'm gonna just randomly pick one of the possibilities, and then I'm gonna click 1 inch. So now we try to access that user operations through 1 inch. Then our bot is working on that transaction execution. Now you see the success afterward. Let's just open this transaction. So basically what we're saying is you did a swap from that amount of E on Arbitrum to buy some USDC tokens, right? So let's open that transaction. So this is a transaction you can see from the RB scan side. So RBScan is the blockchain explorer for the option mainnet. Right? So now you see that transaction, right? And there's some interesting information you can see from here. First of all, the multiple steps involved, and toward the end. So, for example, here we kind of convert the native option E into Web E. Then we talk to the LiFi smart contract to kind of buy some USDC. Now, of course, like we move the Wrap.E to another smart contract as a payment. Then you get back the 3.8 USDC, which is because this is a stable coin, it's worth about $3.80. That's equivalent to the 0.001 I pay. Right? So, uh, so that's really user operations submit through our smart account infrastructure, and then you kind of basically achieve the user intent by just express that in plain English through the bot command. Right. So let's look at the logs as well. So the logs kind of excise the different steps and showing all the different actions being taken. Like you deposit that 0.1 E, you kind of getting back transfer some. This is a transfer from your small account. Then you basically have another transfer for the different things. So that's kind of mimicking the swap operation, and you basically get the USDC back to your smart account. Okay, and let me quickly check my balance there. So we have this account command. Actually, I have this account here as well, so we can look at this account. So this is an account we just did. And we have some internal transactions. So 2 minutes ago, we did something. So I have different tokens here, right? So I already bought some other USDC tokens in the past. So now I have about $12 worth of USDC tokens, right? So that's one example we show with the /intent command. You basically can get the quote through the AI bot, and you have that option to choose which path you want to go. So I'm going to do another demo, which is say, okay, I don't care which DEX you're going to use. I just want to do that in one shot. So in that case, I would say I use a slight different command. Say I'm going to use the auto command. And this time around, let me see, I can do something else. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to buy some Collab.Land token this time. And let's see how it responds to that. So now the user operation is already submit automatically on behalf of me, not even prompt me to make a choice on the different DEX that offers the path to access the transaction to buy Collab.Land tokens. Okay, now we get a lucky response back. So we can open up that transaction and see what happens behind the scenes. Oh, actually, this time it's a little bit more involved. You can see different tokens being transferred back and forth, and yeah, even involves some ERC 1155 tokens. But looking at here, it's like you use a shell protocol to get some like option up, and that get use these orders DEX to get some token. But toward the end, you are getting about 259 Collab.Land tokens on option. Right? So, and of course, since this one is more involved, so the log entries are more involved. So they kind of many different things involved in this automate, but looking at the internal transactions, right? So imagine if we are human beings and we try to access all these things together, it's going to be such a headache, right? So I only demonstrate the simplest case that you actually swap, some native ETH or some ERC20 tokens on option. I think the opportunity is unlimited. So depends on which AI engine we use. It might offer different actions, like say you can swap, you can sell, you can even bridge, you can participate on DeFi. So really, this is just the beginning of that interesting journey that we give the freedom to our users and give them a dummy tool that really benefit from the integration between our bot and the AI engine, and also leveraging the infrastructure we built from the MPC signing plus the smart contract to drive this whole user journey without any pains. Right. So to me, this experiment is really exciting, right? Because all of a sudden, the crypto market is listening to you instead of you have to figure out how to deal with a lot of nuances, and you have to be really technical savvy so that you can have that kind of capability to do that by yourself. So this really opens the door to have a similar potential success with all the DGs, all the OGs. Right? So they have a lot of secret, ingredients, the secret recipes, secret passes. But our goal is really unlock this value for everybody, right? And being able to get assistance from the AI engine is a very meaningful step. And we try to build this autonomous agent for that to happen magically for you. Okay. Switching back on the technical side, just to give a little more insights. So the first experiment we did is we utilized a third-party service called Brown AI. So we worked with the team behind this Brown AI API so that we can leverage their AI capability. So the idea is not very sophisticated, right? So basically, the Brown AI leverage the large language model so that they can meaningfully understand the user intent to extract the different argument as you speak in plain English. And kind of going back to the demo, so there are a couple of critical things, right? So you just say, okay, what action you're taking, and what's the recipient token you want to give, what blockchain you want to work, and what's your source funding, how much ETH you want to invest, right? So this information will be fully understood by the LLM to give us that information. Then behind the scenes, Brown API builds on different agents. So the agent is more like the proxy to talk to the different backends through APIs or interact with the smart contract and expose as a bunch of functions in the API. And the responsibility of the AI engine can figure out based upon the user intent which API to call, right? And the API can compose the different results together. Example, say we are saying by Collab token, right? So we need to map the Collab token to the smart contract address, right? And we also need to figure out, okay, we are using 0.01 E, so that's a social funding. And then for option itself, what's the chain ID? So this information potentially will be extracted. Then we post that to some DEX. So basically, we're talking to multiple DEXs, so the backend API to get that core, right? So kind of going back to the JSON document we're talking about, we are getting back this core, right? So this core tells us which path to go, right? Then our bot with this core can organize the different steps into a user operation. So that's kind of going back here, like say, hey, now the AI engine already tell us what to do. And the bot start to be that middleman and start to work with the user directly and say, hey, here's one user operation we built that involves like 3 steps to achieve your intent. Then we involve the NPC signer to sign the user operation. Then we submit that user operation to the ERC437 bundler provider. Then everything get excited. Then we getting back the confirmation, and the bot notify the user through a DM on Telegram. Say, okay, now your transaction is ready. Here's the result. Check it out by yourself. Right. All right, so I kind of fly through a lot of information here, and I try to keep as less technical as possible, and hopefully this will give you a preview how the you know uh, like 3 months later everything will look like uh, Telefans. Right? Telefans will be that playground for average users to come in and be as productive as these OGs and benefit from all the tricks, all the knowledge. And over time, we're going to expand this paradigm, right? So first of all, we're going to pick the right AI models and the right AI engine to become more sophisticated. And then we also want to build our knowledge base so that we learn from all these traits, especially from the influential KOLs. So we basically extract that knowledge or the patterns into some AI native knowledge base. And in the AI term, so we are building this embeddings and store these embeddings into the vector database so that when we interact with the AI engine, we have more Web3 crypto, data. And also in the context of Telefans, because that will becomes the common ground for a lot of users to do trading. So we have a lot of insights that get convert or captured as a knowledge. So that knowledge will becomes the collective wisdom to help the traders to become more insightful and becomes more successful. So we do have some big dreams here, and hopefully this little experiment serve well as initial step, and hopefully that will be something meaningful in the near future. So we'll continue to push the boundary, and hopefully you guys can get involved, give us a try, and give us feedback. And I think we will create this positive feedback loop, right? So once we have users use this feature, that will give us feedback, and we are going to keep capture that feedback and the knowledge into a meaningful AI data set, and that AI data set will grow over time. Then once we have more data in the data set, it will help to provide more positive signals and helps for our user base as well. So that's a very positive iterations we want to be. Yeah, so that's my quick pitch today. We'll see if there's any questions. I'm happy to answer any of the questions.
This is so cool and so easy. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. But I do have some questions for you, Raymond, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's just inspire others to raise more questions too.
Awesome. So when you were showing the demos for the commands, when you, I'm just wondering how the gas works for each of the transactions. Like the amount that you put in the command, is the gas deducted from that same amount that you're using over there? So if we scroll up in here.
Yeah, yeah. So for example, I ask the bot to fulfill my intent to buy USDC tokens on option with 0.01 E, right? So I'm basically telling the bot I have 0.01 E in my smart account as the balance, and we can use that as a social funding. So we basically ask the AI engine to figure out what kind of transactions have to be performed on chain so that I can meaningfully buy USDC on the Arbitrum One blockchain with my asset.
Okay, so the gas and everything is deducted from this amount. This is like
That's
the
right.
max
That's right.
that they can use. Okay.
Yeah. And then also, if you look at the blockchain explorer, you will see that kind of deduction in the different steps too. So there's some transfer. Like for example, I'm transferring this amount of E from my smart contract to a smart contract.
Wow.
Yeah. And that get transferred back and forth a couple of times too, like, because it involves multiple protocols here. Right? But what you care is two things. One is how much did you pay, right? So in this case, I'm paying 0.1 E, right? And what's the outcome? I'm getting 249 Collab.Land tokens, right? Now, of course, like I have to pay some gas fee there as well. But the gas fee is still a little bit high today. But once because this is a quite involved transaction, and I think once the ERC 48, 44 get deployed to the ECM mainnet, then this gas fee will be significantly reduced.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And my other question was, like, would all tokens be available in like to be traded within the Telephone spot, or how can people know which ones are available and in which chains? Is there
Yeah,
gonna be a
that's
list
a
or?
good question. Yeah, that's a great question too, because really what's happening behind the scenes is the AI engine try to map the different arguments from your intent and try to discover the different passes by checking with some like DEX aggregators. So the DEX aggregators forward your request to the different DEX and then try to get a call. And it depends on what tokens are being supported by the DEX aggregator. We can tell what tokens are available. So moving forward, we'll try to answer these kind of questions, directly from the chat as well. Like say, you can ask the bot, say, hey, what tokens I can trade. So not only you go directly to the transactional behavior, it can be a learning and a Q&A place as well. So you just think you have a financial advisor sitting next to you, and you basically can ask all these kind of questions.
I love that. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
And in the case, I guess it would be the same. Like if a token isn't available in a certain chain, it would tell you, hey, no, you should try this other chain, or that's not available.
That's right. So if your intent itself is not fully describing all the information, so in the future, we want to make sure, I say, if you are missing some critical information from your intent, say you didn't say, what blockchain you want to buy Collab.Land token. So the bot should continuously prompt you, say, hey, we hear you want to do this, but what blockchain do you want to buy the Collab.Land token? Then you tell the bot, hey, I just missed that information. I meant to use like Optimum. I meant to use Arbitrum, right? So that will close the gap. Then once we collect all the information from the user intent to deliver a meaningful quote, we'll do that. So now after you finish the transaction, today is still very much techy, right? So you have to look at the blockchain explorer to understand what's going on. But in the near future, if the AI can summarize the outcome and give you a meaningful human readable information, that will be useful as well. And or in the other cases, if you are a very, very conservative user, right, you want to say, okay, let's simulate the transaction before we really exercise that transaction. So you get that feeling, you have a dry run of that transaction. So you make sure what you ask is what you get, right? So those are the different perspectives. We really want to get feedback from our users and define the UI UX to help the different camps of users. So I do see at least like two different camps of users. Some users are still very conservative, and especially when their first time interact with the AI engine with the bot, they want to be extra careful. I fully understand that. So that's why we want to have this interactive flow to continuously get human feedback, to get human confirmation so that we make the right decision based upon the direct input from the user. But on the other hand, if you feel comfortable and you really just want to that productivity, you want to swap back and forth in real time. You just have the AI to make the decision for you. Not only you can do that directly from the spot, check back and forth. Potentially, you can set up some rules or policy or like algorithm so that the trick can be triggered by the market conditions. Or like if you follow some influential KOL and whatever they do, maybe you'll follow through with your budget. So those automation can happen in the background, but this little demo it just show the different possibilities because everything can be fully automated. So that gives the power. You control your journey, right? So you can make everything interactive. You always have this human input to control which way to go. Or the other option is you want to have the bar plus the AI engine plus your smart account to do the jobs for you. So you basically just care about the result. You don't care about the process itself.
Uh-huh. I think there's a huge value to that because there's a big mental load in decision making and looking for all of the dexes or options that you have to do whatever you want to do. And I don't know, in my case, if AI can do that for me, I'm down for that. Like that's a super
and that could be
easy.
a incremental, shift, right? So at the beginning, you are learning together with AI. So you want to have that interactivity so that you kind of see everything works behind the scenes. Then once you become more and more fluent and confident with that whole flow, you start to trust the system more, right? Then once you have that level of trust, you can delegate your authority or your control to the bot, to the AI engine. So you basically have a meaningful personal assistant sitting behind you and just getting directions from you and do the work. Then over time, you don't even have to directly give them directions. You just define your goals. You define your strategy, or you learn from other people from the knowledge base. Then the agent will work on behalf of you, just like you already find a financial advisor that manages your stocks, balance your portfolio, right? So those are the incremental steps you can grow with us to have that meaningful journey, and you decide how much control you want to have and how much automation you want to do.
Mhm. I think that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to giving it a try and figuring out.
So,
Yeah, how to use it. I'd very much use this. I think it's pretty cool. So thank you, Raymond. I think that some of our members are waiting for the PO-app. So if there's no more questions, that's where all of my questions for now. But if there's more questions, let's get to the PO-app. That sounds all right with everyone.
wonderful.
I'm reading the
Thanks.
chat. I see that there's a lot of members watching on Twitter and I believe YouTube as well. So I need to mention that if any of you guys would like to claim the PO-app for today's Step Deep Dive, this is done inside of our Discord server. So you can find an invite link to it in the Collab.Land Twitter description. You can go to our link tree and find an invite to it. or you can directly go to discord.gg/collabland in order to join the server. But once that you're in here, we use the BOAP mini app. So that's with a slash command called slash BOAP claim. And today's claim phrase is intent. I took this one from your presentation, Raymond. It's
Cool.
a
Let me.
lowercase. I think it's very, very fitting. It's a lowercase and with no spaces anywhere. That would be intent. So INTENT. Once that you write it down, hit enter and you'll get a code to claim the POAP. Please let us know if it's working. I just got mine. But in case that there's any issues with the claiming, or if you're watching on Twitter, you can reach out to me if you want to get a code to claim the POAP, or you can DM the Collab.Land Twitter account and we can get you a code as well. So feel free to reach out. Yes. Well, I'm not sure if I can send the word in the chat because, yeah, I'm not sure what the POAP policies are regarding that lately. But I can say it again. It is intent. So INTENT. Intent. Yes. I will delete it because of what I just mentioned. But you got it right. So you do that. Let me know if it works for you. And with that, I think that we are good to wrap things up, I believe. Waiting to see if
Yeah.
there's any more questions,
It's
but it doesn't look like.
it's so great to see some of you coming back, and we'll continue to share some of the insights as the ongoing development happens with Collab.Land, with Talafans. I'm personally excited about our different journeys here, and let's give it a try and help us to shape the future of crypto.
Indeed. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending. It is really, really good to see you guys. Thank you, Raymond, for this super interesting presentation. I can't wait to give it a try. So, looking forward to that. And of course, we'll keep you guys posted and have more of these sessions to show you any improvement and what the team's working on. So again, thank you all very much. I want to extend an invitation to our Twitter Spaces tomorrow. That's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So I'll drop a link to that event in the chat in case that you'd like to join. Hope to see you all in there. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you all. See you next time.
See you guys.